Hi, this is Tisch Aitken. It is Friday, January 24th, 2025. Big astrology, as we all know, big events. We are in the new age of Aquarius, and there is a lot more Aquarian energy coming in for us now. So let me break it down for you. Today is the 24th. The moon is transiting in Sagittarius, where it's an exuberant, optimistic placement of the moon. Fun-loving. It's going to make some challenging aspects and some positive aspects, but the moon does love being in Sagittarius. It's ruled by Jupiter, the grand benefic. Tomorrow, Venus, which is transiting in Pisces through February 4th, it's going to return to Pisces on March 27th because it's going to retrograde. Venus will retrograde on March 1st, initially in Aries, and then it'll go back into Pisces on March 27th, and it's going to station direct on April 12th. Venus will be in Pisces on and off through April 30th. Bear that in mind because Venus is going to be entering its shadow on January 28th, meaning that it gets to 24 degrees, I believe 31 minutes, but 24 and a half degrees of Pisces, where it's going to station direct on April 12th. So it gets to 24 Pisces on January 28th. We're all going to be paying attention to the Venus retrograde story because right now we're dealing with Mars retrograde, which, Mars retrogrades once every 2 years. Currently it's transiting in a sign that it does not love being in, does not like being in Cancer, where it's emotionally triggered, and in its fall position. It's also out of bounds, meaning going nuts, and it's out of bounds through April 7th, and it has been out of bounds since December 30th, so people being a little more extra, as they say. And so we've got that energy, and on the 23rd of January, yesterday, we had Mars form a positive aspect to Uranus, which can be innovative energy. Then Mercury, which is still in Capricorn, opposed Mars. That can be an aspect of combat or arguments, but it also could be getting things going, saying, look, we got to do this. It could be conversations where perhaps you find solutions because then Mercury formed a very positive aspect to Uranus. Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius, and that's where we're all focused, but there's a lot of Pisces in the background and a lot of Aries in the background because we've got Mars out of bounds and retrograde. Mars rules the sign of Aries. The North Node left the sign of Aries on January 11th and ingressed into Pisces, where it'll be through January 27th. But we're going to have one more eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries on March 29th. We're going to have Mercury initially retrograding in Aries, and it's going to retrograde at 9 degrees and 36 minutes of Aries on March 15th. And Venus, the more important of all of this, well, not of the eclipse, but of the retrogrades, Venus retrogrades initially at 10 degrees and 50 minutes of the cardinal fire sign of Aries. Venus is in its detriment because it rules the opposite sign of Libra, but then it's going to re-enter the sign of Pisces, where it's exalted and loving and so beautiful. On March 27th, it stations direct on April 12th at 24 degrees of Pisces, and then it leaves Pisces altogether on April 30th. A lot of focus between 9 and 10 degrees of Aries, which also triggers the solar eclipse we had on October 2nd, which is the opposite sign of Libra. That eclipse occurred at 10 degrees of Libra. Now we've got the eclipse on March 29th, 9 degrees of Aries, opposing that. We've got Mercury retrograding in the middle of March, opposing that. We have Venus retrograding on March 1st, opposing that. And we have Venus entering its shadow on January 28th, which is in 4 days. Pay attention, we're already in Mars retrograde. Not ideal to launch something new if you can avoid it. It's more to re-examine how you can be more effective. Again, people are much more triggered because we're dealing with Mars close to the Earth and out of bounds, meaning it exceeds the sun's maximum declination. So this is, out of control and people being very reactive. So over the weekend, we have some nice aspects. Venus in Pisces, where it loves to be, forms a beautiful aspect to Mars on Saturday the 25th at 6:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a positive aspect. That's harmonious. That's creative. That could be good for a date. That could be good for doing creative work, for having fun, for socializing, for feeling a little more optimistic, okay? And then on Sunday, we have a few things going on. We're going to have Mercury forming a good aspect to Neptune. Mercury is your viewpoint. It's how you think. It's your thoughts and ideas, forming what's known as a sextile to Neptune. And that is a very good aspect. And that occurs at 6:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to, or no, that happens earlier in the day. That happens in the morning, I believe. But that's a very positive aspect. And then we're going to have Venus, the planet of beauty and what you value and how you create, forming a positive aspect to Uranus. That will be at 6:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Very innovative, creative energy, good for networking with others. This is a weekend that could be good for partnering with others. But we also have the, Saturn forming the semi-square to Pluto. And that is an aspect where we need to reform something. We need to repair something. That is a big aspect, and that first occurred on May 6th of last year. Saturn is in Pisces, which is really hard to anchor because it's so uncontainable in Pisces. And then Pluto now is in Aquarius, which wants fast, rapid change, a lot of innovation, solutions, and options. There are going to be so many new platforms, new medical solutions they come up with, technology, new ways of thinking, new ways of working with the brain that we never have tapped into. There's so many infinite possibilities available, but this is a reminder that some things need repair, that this is not an easy time. And then on the 27th of January, we've got Mercury entering Aquarius, and it'll do so at 9:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is exalted in Aquarius, more Aquarian energy. Mercury is so brilliant and innovative and inventive while in Aquarius. Uranus is the modern ruler and is the higher octave of Mercury. But remember, whenever any planet enters Aquarius now, it's going to meet up with Pluto. So we're going to have a new moon in Aquarius, and this new moon is going to be very electric for a few reasons. We're going to have the sun and the moon meeting up at 7:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 29th. That's DJ Ben's birthday. So he's got a new moon on his birthday, which means he has an opportunity to do new things. And it's going to be at 9 degrees and 51 minutes of the fixed air sign of Aquarius. And so this is a time of planting new seeds, setting intentions. Remember, we're in the new age of Aquarius. Pluto, the planet of transformation and evolution and raising our consciousness and new ways of doing things, especially in the sign that embraces the future, the sign of Aquarius. Pluto will be in Aquarius on and off through January of 2044, and every year when the sun enters Pluto, well, yeah, there you go. It enters Pluto because it's going to meet up. It's going to be in Aquarius and meet up with Pluto. Right now it's at the early degrees. But Mercury now is going to be transiting in Aquarius as of January 27th through February 14th. It will meet up with Pluto on the day of the new moon, And again, that new moon occurs at 7:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But in the new moon chart, Mercury meets up with Pluto at 2:52 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 1 degree and 58 minutes of the fixed air sign of Aquarius. Now that's going to set off the Mars-Pluto opposition that occurred on January 3rd. That was close to 2 degrees of Aquarius. Maybe we're going to get more information about the fires that broke out on January 9th. More information because LA will be having its exact Pluto return next year, but it's getting close, and there will be a third and final Mars-Pluto opposition on April 26th. We've already had two on November 19th while they were still in Cancer and Capricorn. We had a second one while they were in Leo and Aquarius. We will have a third. So Mercury, Pluto, uncovering information. Remember that the Sun met up with Pluto on January 21st. That was the day that TikTok was banned temporarily, but now it's back. But still, what does that say going forward? There's going to be big changes in social media. Aquarius in modern times represents social media platforms, the internet, how we connect virtually. It definitely is very much about friends and groups and how you network in person, but in modern times it's technology, and that is a big way that we all network, and there are going to be huge changes in those areas. And whether we saw an example where it could have been taken away in a flash, Aquarian, things can happen very quickly. There may be big changes that occur, big reveals that we have yet to know, with Mercury meeting up with Pluto on the day of the new moon. There may be things in your own life that you realize that this is no longer working for you. Maybe you're branching out in the ways you do business. If you have your own business or where you work, at the workplace, probably a lot more people are embracing so many new ways of doing things, and realizing that also in this new moon chart, the new moon at 9 degrees and 52 minutes of Aquarius forms a trine, meaning a very positive aspect to Jupiter, which, although it's in its detriment in Gemini, it is a fellow air sign, and that's a very positive trine. Jupiter is how you expand and how you manifest new things into your life. And in the new moon chart, there's a stellium of points in Pisces, which is going to be a big deal because, as I mentioned, we're going to have Venus retrograding initially in Aries, but stationing at 24 degrees of Pisces. That defaults back to the lunar eclipse that occurred at 24 degrees and 51 minutes of Pisces on September 17th. Or 25 degrees rather, and 41 minutes of Pisces on September 17th. Then we're going to have Mercury retrograding in Aries, and when it stations direct, it will be around 24 degrees of Pisces, again answering back. And the lunar eclipse on March 14th will be at 23 degrees and 56 minutes of the mutable earth sign of Virgo, also answering back to the lunar eclipse on September 17th, also answering back to Venus stationing in Pisces and Mercury stationing in Pisces. How can we heal? And there is so much Piscean energy and Aries energy. Aries is about courage and moving ahead. And of course, we began the year with Mars retrograde through almost the entire month of February. And now we're going to have Venus, Neptune, and the North Node meet up on the 2nd and 3rd of February. Again, the North Node and Neptune and Venus are at the last degrees of Pisces. That's a fixed star known as Shiat. That is where people can feel undone, but it's also about giving selfless love. What is your mission? Neptune will meet up directly with the North Node of Karma on February 7th at 28 degrees of Pisces. This is, again, how can you help those that cannot help others? And then the two will meet up. Saturn will meet up with the North Node of Karma in Pisces on April 7th. On April 21st rather, and that will be more like, I think, at 26 degrees of Pisces, close to where all these points are, middle, late degrees of Pisces. And Venus is going to meet up with Saturn again in April 2 times. So that's a reality check, although Venus loves being in Pisces. How can we bring reality to our dreams? Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. Venus is exalted in Pisces, but Neptune is unconditional love. It's infinite dreams and imagination, and that coupled with these Aquarian themes, we can reach farther. We can change our frequencies. We can manifest. We can work with the brain and technology in helpful ways. There are frightening ways, and there can be a lot of scams with all this Neptune. We've got to be wary. But we also have to be hopeful. There's infinite potential and possibility. This new moon is saying, change your thinking. There will be a lot of change. You may hear of some big news of changes, breakups, endings. Venus did just meet up with Saturn this last weekend. So that could be a breakup cycle, whether it's at work or romantic relationships, or I'm just done with this. And it's also a reality check. This is working, but I need to commit Saturn more time to this. And again, Saturn semi-square Pluto, there's a readjustment. There's repair that needs to be done in a big way as you embrace the new age of Aquarius. And last but not least, we've got Uranus, which is the modern ruler of Aquarius, bringing a lot of electricity to this, because Uranus stations direct on January 30th at 23 degrees and 16 minutes of the fixed Earth sign of Taurus. Uranus doesn't like being in Taurus because Uranus is fast change. Taurus takes a long time. Uranus, we feel the outer planet 5 days before and 5 days after. You know there are going to be a lot of shocks and surprises, which Uranus, one of those key words, is shocks, or two of them. Shocks, surprises, revelations, breakthroughs. Maybe you've been working on a science project or something with technology and you finally get a breakthrough. Maybe you see something in a way you never have before. This could be a very revelatory energy, uncovering things. Uranus going direct. Mercury meeting up with Pluto, which is a big deal. So I wish you a lot of luck. So much happening. Expect things to be a little wacky. So we feel it 5 days before. We're going to start feeling it January 25th through the first 4 days of or so of February. And the Mercury Pluto getting to the bottom of things. How can you embrace the new age of Aquarius, but with compassion and kindness? In that new moon chart, we've got Saturn and Venus and Neptune and the North Node all in Pisces. That is anchoring a dream through love and through humility. It's not about self, it's about the soul. Good luck and thank you.